Hey, welcome in.
Welcome to the Arrowhead Addict podcast.
We are here coming to you live.
The Kansas City Chiefs are going to the Super Bowl. You only win a Super Bowl 2 times every 5 years, right? Oh! The warm-up act is over. Let's bring in Melissa Etheridge, massive Chiefs fan. Melissa,
Super Bowl champion, 2-time Pro Bowler, and Trent Green. Trent Green, how you doing?
Hey, what's going on, guys?
and he picked it up! He picked it up! He's gonna score! And we'll see you next week. But until then, as always, go Chiefs. Welcome into the Arrowhead Addict podcast. It is Thursday, and that means it is the OG hour. Patrick Allen here with you, as always, joined by a special guest today from the Wednesday show and the Tuesday show and the post-game show. It's Sterling Holmes. How you doing, brother?
Good, baby. I'm good. I'm glad to be here. I feel like we don't do a lot together, so I'm thrilled right now. It's like meeting my idol, except in this case, I'll sign an autograph for you.
Yeah, right? Yeah. I also would like an autograph from your hair. This is good. We don't get to do enough during the week anymore because you're obviously overloaded with 2 shows, and I'm a new dad. But this is great. I'm excited to have you on. And next week is going to be fun. Next week, we're going to switch it up. Thursday is going to be you, and Wednesday is going to be me, right? I'm going to be on Wacky Wednesday, and you're going to host the OG hour on Thursday because I've got family in town. It's the holidays. They're coming to see little Rory.
We just like to keep the listeners and viewers on their toes. We don't want to get too stale, right? We got to throw a little bam at you.
Yeah, this is
flambe.
I've long said this is the Arrowhead Addict podcast universe. It's just like Marvel, so we each have our standalone, shows and movies, but sometimes we get together for an Avengers post-game show, or somebody pops up and as a cameo, like I'm Black Widow, obviously, same kind of looks. You get the kiss rolling back there.
Oh, baby, it scared me.
Listen, guys, we got a great show for you today. We're going to have Lexi Osborne from the podcast Kingdoms Queens. You probably know her from Chiefs Twitter if you're on that hellscape. She's one of the few bright spots on Chiefs Twitter. She's going to join us, and we're going to play a little game, buying or selling. And we're going to talk about some Chiefs storylines. And then we're going to get into this Browns game. It's going to be a really interesting game, I think. You got Jameis Winston saying all kinds of crazy shit, throwing interceptions, and Myles Garrett, great player. It's going to be a fun one. But before we get to all of that, I got to let you know that Underdog is the place to play if you're a sports fan looking to win money while watching sports. With over 5 million happy players and 2 million won, Underdog makes it fun and easy to cash in on your favorite athletes' performances. Compete against other players just by selecting, you know this by now, higher or lower on 2 or more player stats, and you can win up to 1,000 times your money. Another thing they've got over at Underdog, I don't know if I mentioned this in the podcast before, it's really cool, is vulture protection. So if you've selected a designated running back to score a touchdown in your pick'em entry and they get vultured, we will rescue your entry. So you've got Pacheco, he's going to score a touchdown. Andy decides to put Kareem Hunt in after Pacheco's moved him all the way down the field. Kareem gets the touchdown. You're good, baby. You've got the insurance. So listen, download the app today and use our code Arrowhead Addict. That's all one word to get up to $1,000 in bonus cash instantly. It's a great way to support the show as well. Again, use our code Arrowhead Addict, all one word, to get up to $1,000 in bonus cash instantly. Listen, we're going to race on this someday, but I'm going to turn it over to Sterling here. Go ahead.
Must be 18 plus, 19 plus in Alabama, Nebraska, 19 plus in Colorado, for some games, 21 plus in Massachusetts and Arizona and President State, where Underdog Fantasy operates. Terms apply. Void in Colorado. Concerned with your play, call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit www.ncpgambling.org. Arizona, 1-800-NEXT STEP, 1-800-639-8783 or text NEXT STEP 253342. New York, color 24/7 Hopeline at 1-877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369.
That was good. Did you time yourself?
No, that's Sean's job. Sean.
Producer Sean.
Sean.
Did he do it?
16 again. I knew it. See, I'm way better than that. I can get the 14 mark, guaranteed.
That was clean.
I need my legit studio area. I'm at my parents' basement right now. So when people are like, "Do you podcast from your parents' basement?" Right now, yes. Yes, I am in my parents' basement, okay? It's okay. I love my parents.
You're in it's like an away game for you right now. So your performance isn't quite as good as it would be if you were at home, is what you're saying.
Neutral site. It's a neutral site, in fairness. I'll give him that.
Yeah. Parents' basement, I guess, isn't quite away. Shout out to Slothy, who was at the game, but came in with the super chat 1917. Oh, and since I missed the post-game show Sunday night, the 12-1 super chat, while late, at least has shown up again. Appreciate our guy, Slothy. All right. So I think, let me get the outline here. What are we doing? Let's bring in Lexi. So Lexi is the co-host of the Kingdoms Queens podcast, which you can watch on YouTube and listen to wherever you get your podcast. And she can be found on, like I said, Chiefs Twitter, the Hellscape, X, whatever you want to call it, at Lexi Osborne. Lexi, how you doing?
I'm good, guys. Thanks for having me. Pleasure to be here.
Yeah, it's long overdue. I see you got the Christmas tree. You're decorated.
You know, it's that time of year. I feel like it just adds a little pop of color. Who doesn't like Christmas lights and Christmas trees? It just makes things happier. So, yeah, we're adding that into the background today.
I don't know if it's wide. Can you see my Christmas tree out the window there?
I can actually. Yes, yes.
I'm a Christmas nut. We've got two Christmas trees this year. I'm so excited. We had a baby over the summer, and I am so excited to share all of my Christmas traditions with him. And he is 6 months old. He has no idea what's going on. But I'm just gonna keep going. I'm gonna keep adding decorations until he's actually aware of them.
I love it. Congratulations. My little sister just had a baby as well, and she's 3 months old now. So she's going through all that stuff too, which is a lot of fun.
Yeah.
I had a feeling Sterling was going to take us to his tree.
He's on the move. That's his parents' tree. So you're okay. You're a white light. Yeah, you're a white light family.
They actually change. Look, boom.
Yes,
now it's colors.
How tall is that? I just bought a 9-footer, and I'm loving it.
Taller than me, which isn't saying a whole bunch. I'd say Dirk Nowitzki height.
Dirk Nowitzki.
Give it a solid 7 feet.
Nice. That's how they should size Christmas trees by NBA players. Our place isn't very big. We got a Muggsy Bogues.
It's a Kevin Durant height.
Yeah, Kevin Durant. Lexi, for some of our viewers and listeners who might not be on Twitter, God bless them, and who might not be familiar with you, can you talk to them a little bit about your background here in the Chiefs fandom and the podcast space?
Yeah, so my name is Lexi. I'm the co-host of the Kingdoms Queens podcast, which we just started that a few years ago. This is our 3rd season of doing it. So really, we've been doing it and winning Super Bowls ever since we started it. So I feel like we got to just keep that energy up to, deliver the three-peat. But no, I actually grew up in Kansas City, and I was just told the other day that my dad had me watching Chiefs games at 6 weeks old. So I feel like that's where, a lot of my love for the Chiefs comes from. It's just been ingrained in me. But no, I've always loved the Chiefs. It's been up and down. I really got more into Chiefs football when Dante Hall was back in the backfield for us. And he was just one of my favorite players to watch early on. And then I had the pleasure of meeting him at Oak Park Mall when I was in 6th or 7th grade, and that was really cool. And just a really nice guy. But yeah, that's kind of when I really got into Chiefs football. And then we all know the struggles. It's been a roller coaster of a lot of fun with the Chiefs. But then Andy Reid got here, Travis Kelce, Alex Smith, Chris Jones, and then our beloved Patrick Mahomes. And it's been a fun ride we've been on these past few years. And then, the Chiefs Twitter world is, like you said, it's a hellscape for sure. It's something out. I mean, you guys probably see the comments I get, being a woman. It's oh, you only like it because of Taylor Swift now, or it's hilarious.
Oh, I bet that's been fun.
Patrick only does like it because of Taylor Swift. That actually is true. That would be apt if someone said to him.
It's not even an insult to me. I'm I do like her, but that's not why I like Chiefs football. But it's funny.
It's like a bonus. It's extra
bonus.
Entertainment value, right? Yeah,
absolutely.
Awesome. Well, we're really excited to have you, and you guys should definitely check out the Kingdoms Queens podcast. Great stuff. So I thought it would be fun, Sterling, Lexi, for us to play a little game of buying or selling on some Chiefs storylines. So I'll propose a few of these to you guys both, and I want you both to let me know whether you're buying or selling. And I want to be clear. that just because I'm proposing this, it doesn't mean that I'm buying on it or selling on it or that I think that it is a thing, but it's a talking point. And so you guys are going to set the listener straight on whether or not they should be buying and selling. And you are a guest, so you get to go first, Lexi, on this one. And and you get the funnest one of them all. Buying or selling, the Chiefs are lucky.
Oh, I was actually just having a conversation with my dad about this yesterday. He tends to think it's a lot of luck, and I had to go into why I don't think it's a lot of luck and why I actually think it's so I do think it's a little bit of luck. I'd say maybe 10% luck, 90% they're just a really good team with a lot of experience and really good coaching.
I thought you were about to do the 10% luck, 90% skill, 20% concentrated power and will. I thought you were going to go, the whole song from the early 2000s. I thought you were about to do that. I was about to lose it.
I should have missed opportunity. But no, I don't really think it's luck. I think there is a little bit of luck into it, of course, right? The field goal, I was at the game, and from where I was sitting, I couldn't tell if it even went in or not. And then I just had to go with the crowd that all of a sudden went crazy, right? But stuff like that, yeah, that's a little bit of luck, right? But it also is coaching, and Andy Reid, you got to trust. He trusted in his guy to make that field goal and for Patrick to get the team down the field. And I think Patrick probably hasn't played up to a lot of people's standards or maybe his own personal standards this season, but I think he's the most clutch player in the NFL, if not one of the most clutch players of all time. So I think what he's doing, I think that speaks volumes to how good he is. And I think the Chiefs are a little bit asleep in the regular season just because they've played so many games these past few years, especially these past two, just being in 2 back-to-back Super Bowls and winning. And I think they're just a little bit tired. I think they just kind of sleep through the regular season a little bit, to be quite honest with you. But I think it is really good coaching. I think it's discipline. I think they know what they're doing, and they just find ways to win most of the time. A little bit of luck in there.
So it sounds to me
it's called variance. That's what we're going
variance.
With. Don't call it luck. It's variance.
There you go.
and isn't missing a 31-yarder, wouldn't that have been more lucky than him making that? Yes,
it would have been unlucky.
Yeah, that's my whole point.
It would have been lucky for the rest of the NFL.
And wouldn't it have been lucky for the Ravens to drive the length of the field, not only score a touchdown, but then have to go for 2 and win? Wouldn't the odds of that be a lot lower than the Chiefs holding on and winning that game? Wouldn't the odds of Daniel Carlson making that 50-plus yarder after he'd already missed 3 in that game, wouldn't the variance tell you that he's probably going to miss that one again? I just think people like to spin it different ways. If you spin it the opposite way in this sort of narrative, again, it's a narrative. We're here in Chiefs Kingdom. We're probably going to make it sound a little better how it's all skill. The 31 other franchises and fan bases and national media who pander to the other 31 versus the one, they'll spin it that way. Odds are it's somewhere in between in the world of variance.
Okay, but neither of you answered the question. You both tried to play the political game.
So I'll say selling. Seller.
Selling. Yeah. Sterling, seller?
Yeah, because I don't like the word luck, so I'm selling.
And I think I'm selling too. It's when you say you buying or selling, the Chiefs are lucky. When people say the Chiefs are lucky, what they mean is not that they benefit from luck. Everybody benefits from luck, but that they are only who they are because of luck. And that's bullshit. They're really good. They're 18-1 in their last 19 games. Ain't nobody that lucky. Okay. So if you're trying to attribute it to luck, you're just dead wrong. They're good. Have they caught a break here or there? Sure. But that happens to every team, every NFL game. All right, let's move on to the next one here. We'll go with you first this time, Sterling. Are you buying or selling? Patrick Mahomes deserves some of the blame for the Chiefs' offensive struggles.
Oh, I'm buying. I mean, he totally deserves some of the blame. Not all the blame, not the lion's share of the blame, but some of the blame. A lot of those deep ball throws, I do think he deserves some of the blame for. He's not traditionally been the best deep ball thrower to begin with throughout his entire NFL career. I do think at times he has stepped up into pressure. Again, Part of that could be the chicken or the egg. Whose fault is it? The offensive line, the tackles, I should say, have been atrocious. Trey Smith, for all the love he's gotten overall, his pass blocking this season has been a little bit back. But Patrick does deserve some of the blame. Now, I do think there's been a pretty clear split. Like the first 7 or 8 games of the season, I think it was actually more on Patrick than even the offensive line. But then all of a sudden, it was like Space Jam. They walked by each other and stole each other's juices because now the offensive line is playing some horrendous football while Patrick, I think, is playing some of the best in his entire NFL career. The issue is now he does not have time. He still deserves some of the blame, but it's definitely going to me. Offensive line, tackles 1, I would say Trey Smith in pass blocking 2, and then Patrick 3. That's the way I'd break that down.
It's fair. Lexi?
Yeah, I'd say I'm buying it pretty much. I think you have to like place a little bit of blame on him, right? Because he is the quarterback of this offense. But like you said, it's just like, I feel like they haven't found a full groove on all 3 sides of the ball and really any of the games. Maybe you could say they did a little bit like for the San Francisco game or for the Saints game. I feel like those were our 2 games where we won by multiple possessions, right? And they looked a little more like a solid team on all ends. But for the most part, I do think I think Patrick's playing a lot better these last few weeks, like you said. But then the O-line, I don't know what's happening with them right now. I've never really had to worry about our interior. I'm still team pay Trey Smith because I do think he's really good, but I do think he's struggled a little for whatever reason. I don't know if it's just, I don't know what it is, to be honest with you. But I just think they're a little out of sync. And I think, I feel like we've also been dealing with an offense, and this isn't an excuse, but like, it's just been a revolving offense for like every single week, pretty much. It hasn't been like the same people on the field. Now, these last 2 weeks, it's been better because we've gotten Pacheco back, but they're just slowly working him back in. And then you have D-Hop, who's still getting less than 60% of the snaps. And I mean, your one main guy is Worthy. And I feel like he and Patrick are really building that connection right now. And I actually think it's developed a lot, especially in the past like 3 weeks. And I think that deep ball will improve to him. Like you said, it's been a little bit off, and it's not going to be like Tyreek right away, like we're all wishing, but like, I do think it's going to get there. And I think like Travis says weekly on their podcast, like, I think by the time the playoffs roll around, I think they're going to have that like unit that just clicks. So,
well, Lex, that's a great point. And it's one that I don't think anyone ever talks about. Like when you saw the Chiefs play the Chargers, everyone kept talking about, yeah, well, Ladd McConkey's out. What would happen if he played? And then the Chiefs are sitting here going, yeah, well, without Rasheed, without Hollywood, with all these plethora of players, they have Justin Reed doing kickoffs, but no one ever wants to talk about that, right? And so I think it's a good point of all the moving parts. How hard is it for an offensive line? You know, is Joe Tooney playing guard or tackle? Is it Juwan at right? I mean, is it going to be Wanya at left? Is it going to be DJ? Is it going to be Kingsley? No one brings that aspect up, and I think it's a very good one. As great as DeAndre Hopkins is, you're still seeing the few snap counts that he's receiving overall, still trying to get that connection. Maybe doesn't know the entire playbook yet. When your number 1 wide receiver is a rookie in what is traditionally a very hard system for a rookie to learn, this is what you're seeing in the defense, the same thing. How many secondary pieces have they gone through? All of a sudden, now you're seeing Brian Cook get less snaps. You're seeing Jaden Hicks get more. I mean, I'm with you. The playoffs, we hope they figure it out. If any team can, it's this Chiefs team. But there's not enough credence going around to they're still 12-1 with all these moving pieces.
Correct. And I feel like that's where they really separate themselves from the other teams. And I feel like as Chiefs fans, we really understand what we're watching. And like we've seen them. I mean, last season they were at like 6 losses or 5 losses at this point, whatever it was something crazy. They just weren't looking like a cohesive team at all. I mean, even on Christmas, they weren't. That was like the worst I've ever seen them look, actually. And then that just woke them up. And so it'd be wrong to think they won't find that. I don't know if you saw, I think it was during the game, I'm just going to humble brag here. Kay Adams tweeted, and she said, what would happen if Ladd McConkey was playing? What would the score be? And I replied, and I said, what would the score be if Rashee Rice and Hollywood Brown were playing? And I think I ratioed her like 3,000 likes to like 1,000 on her end. And I was like, see? Like,
that's the one.
We gotta.
Kay Adams is awesome.
I love her, but yeah, like,
huge fan.
Friend of the show.
Yeah,
yes, I know. That's why I had to bring it up because I know you guys talk with her sometimes.
She is so
but I
nice.
Thought that was funny.
She's now also getting sick of Kansas City, I think.
I'm
Because
sure
everyone is. She started off loving the Chiefs, and now she's just like, you know what? Stop that.
I'm with you guys. I'm buying, but I'm only buying 10% of it. And only because the reason we don't have Rashee Rice is because of Patrick Mahomes. It's the worst play of his career, throws in interceptions, and inadvertently takes out his number one wide receiver. But, like, for the love of God, and I was tweeting about this last week or something. I'm so furious that Andy Reid is not in the conversation for Coach of the Year, and that all of the talking about the Chiefs is that they're not actually as good as they are. What somebody did, they do this every year, right? Everybody on the Steelers gets hurt, and everyone's like, Mike Tomlin should be Coach of the Year because everybody on the Steelers is hurt, and they managed to go, 9-8. Meanwhile, the Chiefs have started a left tackle who wasn't in training camp with them. For most of the season, they started a running back who was on the couch, definitely wasn't in training camp with them. They've started multiple wide receivers who weren't in training camp with them. And so it's like, yes, Patrick has struggled. His best receiver this year has been a rookie, right? Like back end of the first round pick. I mean, he's missed some throws here and there. He's made some bad interceptions. But like when you put it in context, he has a revolving door at left tackle and a walking penalty at right tackle. He doesn't know who the hell his receivers are. They're different every week. And most of them are getting their AARP cards in the mail this week. I mean, for goodness sake, like, what do you want the man to do? But what happens at the end of the game when the Chiefs need to win? Patrick Mahomes wins them the game every single time. The only time they didn't win this year was when he didn't have the ball at the end. He went down with plenty of time left, got him within 2 against Buffalo. Defense couldn't get a stop. They lost the game. The Bills, man, when they went for it on that 4th down, they knew damn well if they kicked that field goal and they only went up, under a touchdown, they were losing the football game. So he stole the GOAT, and just because the numbers don't look good, just because he's made some mistakes, for me, that is he's just a product of his environment right now. And come playoff time, he'll put the cape on. All right, let's get to the next one here. And we'll go back to you to start us off, Lexi. If DJ Humphries can't play, the Chiefs should move Joe Thuney to left tackle.
That's a tough one to say buying or selling on. I'm going to say, can I say like 60% buying?
Sure. Yeah.
How's that fence? Comfy to sit on, or
not at all? Okay. So in Wanye's defense, I feel like he looked better when he went in for DJ Humphries in this last game. Now, granted, he only played like 13% of the snaps, right? But I think losing his job probably humbled him a little bit. And I think that, but then he has to go right into a test against Myles Garrett, which is like probably the hardest test in the NFL, arguably. So I don't know, but I do think Joe Thuney, I think it's good to have options. So if Wanye is just failing miserably, I trust Joe Thuney a lot. And I do like Mike Caliendo too, if he goes in at left guard. So, it wasn't great when we had to put them in either. I think it was against the Raiders, right, that we had them in as that little duo. It was okay. I don't know if it was a huge improvement from Wanye. It's tough. It's going to be tough. It's going to be a really big test for them, and they're going to have to help with chip blocking. And P. Ryan had a really good game with that this past game, so hopefully he can help out with that, and hopefully they have a good plan because, like you said, it's been a revolving door. So
this is a fairly hard sell for me. I think you leave Joe Thuney where he's at, because if you start with Joe Thuney at left tackle, there's no contingency, there's no backup plan. Because if you're starting Joe Thuney at left tackle, I don't think you're all of a sudden, if he struggles, you're moving him back to left guard, then Wanye comes in at left tackle. That's just too many moving pieces in one game, in my opinion. What I would do is start with Wanye Morris. And if he is looking like he has the past couple of weeks he started, then yeah, maybe about halftime you make that move. But I think you have to start with Wanye. And here's a big reason why. I know it's silly. I know people are probably going to make fun of this, but the arm length is such a big disadvantage for Joe Thuney going up against Myles Garrett. Typically 34 is about the cutoff for a tackle. Joe Thuney has 32.5-inch arms. That's not going to fly against Myles Garrett. He's going to get bull rushed back into Patrick, which we saw a little bit when he did play left tackle. Joe looked better than the disaster that was Wanya Morris in that game, but it wasn't great. Wanya Morris has, I think it was 35.25-inch arms. He's very long arms. That should help. Now, your arms aren't helping you when you do this one-handed punch and you miss. Your arms mean nothing in that instance. But I'm hoping that Wanya Morris has learned, had a week off, played a couple snaps, as you mentioned, the end of that game, and hopefully he figured some things out. If it were me, I'm starting Wanya, but I might have a pretty quick hook if that is going to be the case.
I am buying. Look, I know people say it's not ideal to take your all-pro guard and move him to a position that he doesn't play. But listen, the fact of the matter is it's easier to stuff somebody in there and have them do okay playing guard than it is to have a really bad left tackle. Caliendo can go in there and like hold his own at guard. Is he going to be Joe Thuney? No. But you know what Joe Thuney's not going to be? Wanya Morris. Like, I'm sorry. I love Wanya Morris. He's been on the show. He's a really nice kid. I am rooting for him. But the Chiefs have told us everything that we need to know about Wanya Morris. They drafted him. It was a failure. He can't step into a starting role.
Failure is such a strong word for a guy in his second
year. The very next year, they drafted another tackle in the second round. So
that doesn't mean it's a failure. That means he can play right tackle in the future, or there's other plans for him.
He's got to be a backup for them. He can't play. And the guy that they drafted in the second round this year that they tried to start, they're not even making him active. Listen, I love Brett Veach. They've been incredible. I owe them everything. This has been the tackle situation has been an abject disaster. You cannot talk your way around it. They drafted Wanya Morris. It didn't work out. They drafted a guy in the second round, and he was so bad that they had to start the guy that they drafted in the third round, who they knew that after playing for them for a year wasn't good enough to start. Moving Joe Thuney to left tackle, if he is the best left tackle on this team, keeps you from getting Patrick Mahomes fucking killed. Right?
God, no, this is overreaction Thursday. What is happening right now?
No, it's not. Right now, I'm not saying Suamati is never going to be good, but
you've already apparently seen the book on Wanya Morris and said Wanya Morris, in your words, is a quote failure, which is just asinine. That is absurd.
It hasn't worked out to this point.
He's a third rounder.
He's horrible.
Horrible. Dude, Patrick, he was honestly fine. He was Donovan Smith the first 9 games of the season.
No,
this is such an asinine overreaction. It is hilarious.
That's what's okay. What I think is crazy is his stats actually weren't even that much worse than Donovan Smith.
They were better than Donovan Smith the first 10 weeks, but people have amnesia and they saw what Donovan Smith did in the playoffs and they think he's prime Trent Williams all of a sudden. It's absurd.
He's not good. He is not good. He's not a starting tackle in the NFL right now.
He's such a divisive topic in Chiefs Kingdom now.
How is it divisive to say that Wanya Morris is no good right now?
I'm the king of nuance. He's had 2 absolutely horrendous weeks. I'm not going to disagree, but we have a 10-week sample size of him looking pretty solid. I don't know why those 10 weeks get completely thrown out of the equation.
Look at what the coaching staff is telling you and the GM is telling you, Sterling. If they thought he looked good enough for the first 10 weeks, why did they bring in DJ Humphries?
Because they can improve and get better there. Because Kingsley clearly isn't even a backup. Wanya Morris was supposed to be the backup tackle. He was supposed to be the swing, not start 17 games. Kingsley was the issue here.
Right. He shouldn't be the starter because he's not good enough to be the starter. And they failed when they drafted Kingsley Suamataia, evaluated him in training camp, didn't bring anybody else in, and they were like, yeah, he's going to start the season. Like, if he was so bad in training camp, right, that they should never have started him to start the season. So they're in this situation that they are in right now because they screwed up, then they misevaluated everything in training camp, and when the people got out there on the actual field and played actual games, they couldn't compete. It doesn't mean that they don't do good things other places, but this particular situation, you have to agree, is a failure.
Do you think it was a little bit of because I think all of us were kind of questioning these 2 tackles going into the season and how the coaches spoke about them during training camp and preseason. And I think it was controversial even going into it. And a lot of people, even at that point, wanted Donovan Smith to come in and start. I don't know. I feel like And then I think it was Andy Heck was talking today in his press conference, and he was saying they're kind of playing the O-line all around in different positions. Like they're playing Kingsley at guard sometimes in practice, and they're playing him at right tackle. Do you guys think they could be like kind of training Kingsley to be the future right tackle and then bring someone else completely different in for left tackle? Because I don't know. I'm not ready to give up on Wanye Morris yet, but like it's hard when you're going for a three-peat because you're trying to make history here, and that's arguably your most like important position outside of quarterback, right? Is your left tackle. And I think it is. I think people are struggling to trust Wanye. I do agree. He's had some okay weeks. He's had some really rough weeks. I think overall he's been serviceable enough to where we're still 12-1, right? But it's like Patrick's been sacked so many times, more than like last year right now. So
well, I've said I thought Wanye Morris was the right tackle of the future when Juwan Taylor's contract was up. That seemed to me to be the best game plan, and until then he was going to be your swing tackle, which is what we saw, right? Kingsley Suamataia was quote unquote the issue this year. But again, I told everyone, and no one loves to listen. Everyone wants the right now. It has to be. You spend a second round on him. If he's not the stud left tackle, he's a bum. It makes no sense. Kingsley Suamataia is going to need time. He was one of the more raw prospects tackle-wise coming out of college. Expecting him to be outstanding year one as a rookie, that's on you. Now, I didn't think he would be this bad as a rookie. That is fair. I always go back to Andrew Thomas. How many times do tackles take a year or two to develop in the NFL? It takes time. And yes, maybe it was a miss, and maybe Kingsley Suamataia is a guard. I have heard some rumblings about that. Okay, maybe he is. Look at Mekhi Becton. Mekhi Becton could not cut it as a tackle, and now he's one of the best guards in football. I don't think that's still a failure. I don't think they're not drafting top 10. They don't have a chance to draft Alt, right? Everyone's going to point to Alt, but yes, do the Chiefs draft top 5, top 10? No, they never do. So either they have to trade up very high and take that risk, or they trade for a legit established veteran. Maybe they should have been figured out going into this season. That's more on Brett Veach. That's fine. That's fair. This is where you are at right now. I'm not calling Wanye a bust. I'm not going to call, or a failure, in the words of Patrick. I'm not going to call Kingsley a failure after what we have seen from him so far. I do think the Chiefs are in a very precarious situation, especially now with the injury to DJ Humphries. But come on, we're talking about the 12-1 back-to-back Super Bowl champions, and Patrick, you're acting like the sky is falling.
The pick was a failure, and you're not listening to what I'm saying. I did not expect Kingsley Suamataia to be great in his first year. I'm not expecting anything. The Chiefs drafted him in the second round. They didn't bring anybody else in. They're like, we're good with Wanye Morris and Kingsley Suamataia. They evaluated them in camp. They started Suamataia at left tackle to start their three-peat campaign. They did that. I didn't do that. I'm just telling you the results. The results are he's so bad right now, not a failure forever. Same with Wanye. So bad right now, he's not active on game day. And the other guy who you, by your own words, is the backup, was drafted to be the backup, is the starting left tackle for their three-peat. That's on them. That's a failure. Out of 80 graded Pro Football Focus tackles, Wanye Morris is 73. 73. And you're going to sit there and be like, Patrick, you're crazy for saying he's not good. He's not good. He's literally graded as one of the worst tackles in the NFL.
Because the past two games have absolutely plummeted those numbers. The last two games he started, right?
He was in like the 60s before that, man.
Okay. Slothy also talks about, it's a great point here. You realize we started the year with like $5 in cap space, right?
It doesn't matter.
Yes, it does matter.
No.
It matters where you draft, and it matters how much money you have in the salary cap when you have a quarterback on a non-rookie contract, when you're paying Chris Jones, when you're paying Travis Kelce. What are we doing here? Everyone's going to be all
I'm not
pros.
saying anything that isn't true. The reality is the reality. They made their strategy, and their strategy for other things, I think, were great. What they did at receiver, they couldn't have foreseen the injuries. The tackle thing hasn't worked out. Juwan Taylor also hasn't worked out great for them. It's not
Which
a great
I
contract.
said for the longest time. By the way,
Right.
Again, if the game plan is so broke, and this is just ass, throw it all away. The Chiefs are 12-1 with a 2-game lead in the AFC. If that game plan is so atrocious, I think other teams would try that same game plan.
Yeah, look, it's just not working right now. It doesn't mean that Wanye is not going to continue to get better. I hope he does, and I hope he plays well in the playoffs. And like, I love the kid. Just right now, I think it's been a failure, and it's caused a lot of problems. And Patrick Mahomes is getting beat up because of it, and they're pulling guys off the scrap heap, trying to figure out a way to fix it. It is what it is. They get a lot of most everything else right. This is just one that hasn't worked out. All right, this is riveting. I hope this is good podcasting for you guys. A little conflict. It's good. All right. So next up, let's start with you, Sterling. The Chiefs will secure the number 1 seed. Buying or selling?
Buying. And Lexi, you and I are right, by the way. Patrick's absurd. So I'm glad that at least you and I were on the same page with the smart ones. But yeah, I'm buying. They have a 2-game lead now, game and a half, however when you view it, with the Bills having the tiebreaker. I know that it's 3 games in 11 days. I understand the Chiefs' schedule to end the season is tough. I personally am nervous about this Browns game. I think this Browns game is actually not a great matchup on paper for Kansas City. Doesn't mean I don't think Kansas City is going to win. But again, with the struggles in the secondary for the Chiefs, coupled with Jameis Winston, bleep it, someone's down there somewhere, that's not ideal. Because you know Jameis is going to throw that deep ball, and there were a lot of open receivers against the Chargers, and there's a lot of mishap going on right now in the secondary, but I'm buying the Chiefs still securing the 1 seed, and they need it. That's huge for the Chiefs. With the amount of games they played, with the early bye, the week 6 bye, you saw what happened for Travis Kelce last year when he sat out that final game. What did he look like come playoff time? I think more than any other team, the Chiefs need this bye, and they will get it.
Lexi?
Yeah, I think I'm buying it too, for sure. I think it's really ours to lose at this point. But like you said, it could be a trap game coming up against the Browns. I have no idea what to expect because I didn't expect him to like dice up the Broncos defense like that. I mean, they have a really, really solid secondary. And he threw for almost wasn't it like 500 yards? Now, granted, that's because you get picks and then they come back and then it goes right back to you. So, there's a little bit of that. But our defense, we have to see some turnovers this game. We have to, because if you're not able to get turnovers off of Jameis Winston, you're not going to be getting them anytime, really. So that's what I'm really looking forward to. I'm hoping that we see that. But, yeah, I don't know what I think of this matchup. The next few games, I think the Texans will be a win. They just lost Petrie in their backfield, so I think that's kind of a big loss for them. Steelers, that's a weird game. Then I don't think like you said, I don't think we play the starters versus the Broncos, and then hopefully we get that bye week. But yeah, no, I think we do get the 1 seed. I think it's all but ours to lose, and they just have to play enough good football to win and just don't fall into the trap.
I'm with you guys. I'm buying. I think the Bills are going to lose to the Lions, and I think the Chiefs will be able to take care of business. Even if they don't beat the Steelers have a really rough road. They got to play Baltimore again. Their schedule is going to be hard. And those are the only 2 teams that can catch them. If the Bills had won last week, I might be selling just based on the way the Chiefs have been playing. And they do have some tough games coming up, but I think they're in good shape now. All right. Who went first last time? It was Sterling. So Lexi, you're up. Yeah, you're up. Lexi, buying or selling? The Chiefs will finish 16-1.
Well, based off my previous answer, I'd say there's a good chance of it. Like I said, we just have to not be playing down to the final seconds, I think, in these next few games, because these are going to be tough opponents and they are going to want to spoil us a little bit. So I think the Browns are very good. They don't have that many wins, but they've spoiled a lot of good teams. And yeah, but I think we're totally capable. I really do. I really believe that. We just have to, not make mistakes. Mistake-free football. That would be fantastic.
Capable, yes. What I think is going to happen, no. I'm selling. I think 15-2 is more realistic. I think the Chiefs probably still get the 1 seed. It'll be close, but I think 14-3, they have a pretty good chance of still getting the 1 seed. But yeah, I'm selling. The 3 games in 10, 11 days, however you want to break that down, there's going to be one. That's just too difficult. And if the Chiefs are 16-0 or 15-1, they'd probably sit their guys. Good chance, or at least maybe even a half. Treat it as a preseason game in that instance. Could easily fall in that final game. So no, this is a pretty hard sell for me. I think 16-1. If they do, I'd be thrilled. I'd be, wow, my goodness. But this is about to be an extremely difficult stretch. Even me, who's optimistic, doesn't want to go there.
Yeah, it's tough. I'm selling as well. Even if they do somehow to manage to navigate this 3-game stretch against a dangerous Browns team, not necessarily a good Browns team, but a dangerous Browns team, and the cold, and then 2 good teams, 2 playoff teams that they could see later. If they do happen to win all these games, then that game against Denver ain't going to mean anything. And there's a good chance they lose it.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah. All right. But hopefully they will, because it'll just be hilarious to watch all these haters keep suffering.
Love it.
Okay. Sterling, Steven Nelson will make a difference in the secondary. Buying or selling?
Originally I said yes. So originally I was at the buy. Originally I was all in. I was like, yeah, I know how it ended originally. And he called out Bob Sutton, and he kind of called out the city, and I was frustrated and bleeped that guy. And then I was like, okay, I get where he was coming from, at least in the Bob Sutton standpoint, because Bob Sutton was not good. So at least we understood that aspect of it. Then he went to Pittsburgh, had a couple of good years in Pittsburgh, obviously one with the Eagles, one with Houston, and then he retired, which was kind of a surprise, especially because he was ranked pretty highly according to PFF last year, 39th ranked coverage corner last year. So I thought, okay, that's a legit CB2. But then you've heard him talk, and it doesn't sound like he was really keeping himself in shape.
He was jogging, Sterling. He said he was jogging.
He was jogging, which made me go, okay, this cornerback situation is way worse than we all thought. If they're going to pick up a guy who's been jogging, now I get it. Maybe that's all he needs to stay in shape, and his metabolism's much better than mine. We're the same age, me and Steven Nelson, pretty much, right? I might be 1 year younger. That ain't going to work for me. If I start jogging, that beer is going to turn into a belly real quick. So I don't know. Maybe we have different regimens, but when I heard that presser, it made me less optimistic. Maybe he's slow playing. Maybe it's a joke. Maybe he has been working out, but that really made me want to sell versus buy in this situation.
Yeah, good point. Lexi?
I kind of agree, because when I was looking at, I think I'm also going to be a seller. I think when I was looking at his stats from last season, like in Houston, he had a better rating, I think, than most of our cornerbacks, who were a really good room last year. He was really good at turning the ball over. If he can bring any of that over, that would be amazing. But like, even listening to Spags today talk about him, it did not sound overly exciting. He was just kind of like, yeah, he just came off the couch. He hasn't really been doing much, so not sure. We'll take it day by day, which we know how that goes. So, yeah, I'm not overly hyped about it. I think if he can come in and contribute, great, but I'm not really expecting that. I'd say my expectations are like here, but I think it's tough. Like, Najee Johnson is off of a year-long injury, and then he also was a safety in college, and he wasn't a cornerback, and we're having him start at cornerback. And then I think Joshua Williams is like a roller coaster, right? Like, he can be really good, and then he has penalties a lot, and he can be inconsistent. So, like you said, I think it's tough. I mean, our cornerback room, those were our 2 rooms everyone was worried about, that and the left tackle going into the season, and it's still week whatever we're in, 15, it's still a worry. So I don't know.
Yeah. I'm with you. I'm selling. I don't even know that he plays that much. We'll see. It's good to have somebody that knows the team a little bit and all those types of things, and as a veteran that you could try to get up to speed, and maybe he's in an emergency break glass option for them at some point down the line if he can get into shape. But maybe it's just a few snaps here and there to spell some guys.
I will say this. If he is 90% of what he was last year, let's just say instead of being the 39th best coverage corner, he's, let's just say like 50th, right? Let's say he draw, or 55th, 60th even, like a CB2, maybe instead of a top-end CB2, he's a back-end CB2. Well, he only plays exclusively on the outside. He's not playing in the slot. Trent McDuffie is the best slot corner in the NFL. He's an above-average outside corner, but he's the best slot corner in the NFL. Right? If you can move Trent McDuffie at least for some snaps, the majority of his snaps, back into the slot, I think you're looking at a much better Chiefs secondary. The safety play has been real bad, but if Josh Williams can get healthy enough, I don't like it as much with Najee on the outside, but if Joshua Williams can get healthy enough to go with Steven Nelson, and then you can stop playing Shamari Connor in the slot, I think your secondary takes a pretty big, relatively big step forward at least. But again, that's a big if in regards to Steven Nelson.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, we're going up against it on time. So no discussion on this one. Just tell me if you're buying or selling. The Bills are the biggest threat to the Chiefs in the AFC. Lexi?
Buying. Yeah, I definitely think so.
Sterling?
Buy hard.
Yeah, I think so too. Agreed. Buying. Okay, and the last one, and we can discuss this a little bit if you want. Start with you, Sterling. The Chiefs will complete the three-peat. Buying or selling?
I'll buy. I broke it down this way. If you told me Chiefs versus the field, I'd take the field. Just because monetarily, if you're a bettor, that makes way more sense. Just even odds, right? If you're saying even odds, you're taking the field. That's pretty obvious. But if you're saying pick one team to win the Super Bowl, I think you're picking Kansas City. They clearly have an ability to win close games. They're battle tested. They've been there. They've done that. The moment will never be too big for them. How many teams have bleeped the bed late in games because they don't know what it's like? They're about to beat the Chiefs. They're about to beat the Chiefs. And then they just decide, oh, shoot, we actually have to cross the finish line. I don't know if Detroit's going to be like that. I don't know if the Bills are going to be like that, right? The Bills have never won a Super Bowl. That's a lot of pressure for a quarterback, for a franchise, for those players. So I think there is something to that. I think the Chiefs can win in a multitude of ways. And I do think they're going to get some reinforcements back come playoff time. Obviously, the addition of Charles Minute, who's been great, but when you bring back Hollywood Brown at some point, Harrison Butker, who I think we all trust, I like the Chiefs' chances as good, if not more, than any other team.
Lexi?
Yeah, I'm buying as well. I think they're getting healthy at the right time. I think they're getting all the right pieces back. I think if we can have that bye week, that's huge for us. I think I'm just like visualizing it too. Like I really don't see it going any other way. I really think this is the team of destiny. I think they're built to make history. And I think if any team can do it, I think it's this one. I think they're very battle tested. I think, like I said earlier in the show, I think they get a little bit sleepy mid regular season and they just kind of maybe don't play all their best ball all the time. But I do think if like last year proved us anything, it's that they really turn it on in the playoffs. Because I would have guessed we would not have won it last year. But I think seeing what we saw last season and what I know this team's capable of, and then adding all this talent that we didn't even know we were going to have, like having DeAndre Hopkins and guys like that, like I think it's a team to three-peat for sure. And I think next year will be a down year, if I'm being honest, because I just think there's a lot of moving pieces next offseason and all that kind of stuff. But I think this is the year to do it. And I think it's probably Travis Kelce's one of his best last years he's going to have. And yeah.
It could be it. And he could go nutso in the playoffs.
I think he will. I think he's saving his body a little bit.
Yeah, I'm buying as well. I ain't betting against this team. After what they like after Christmas Day last year, and they went and they won the Super Bowl, no chance I'm betting against them. Give me the three-peat. Lexi, this was a blast. Thank you. Thanks for putting up with Sterling and I's bickering.
I love it. It's great.
I love having Sterling on because he heats things up.
I'm a microwave.
He knows good radio.
I'm a microwave. Yeah. But Lexi and I were on the same side, so I don't know what that says to you.
I don't know. I think I had her convinced by the end. Maybe not.
We may never know.
Yeah. We'd love to have you back on sometime soon. But again, you guys, make sure you check out Lexi on the Kingdoms Queens podcast. And of course, you can find her on Twitter at Lexi Osborne. Have a fantastic weekend and go Chiefs. We'll see you soon.
You guys too. Thanks for having me on. Talk to you soon.
Yeah, absolutely. Bye, Lexi. All right, that was Lexi Osborne from the Kingdoms Queens. Sterling, why you got to start fights with me when we have company?
I start fights with you. Well, because I'd be lying. It wouldn't be me if I just didn't start a fight with you. Like that just would be
That's fair.
Uncouth.
That's fair. All right, let's get into some quick news hits here as we're heading into this Browns preview. So Mecole Hardman remains on IR. He's had a successful knee surgery. So we'll be seeing him for a little bit. Hollywood Brown is practicing. That's very exciting. Andy says he's chomping at the bit. Not going to be out there.
It's not chomping though, Andy. It's champing.
Champing.
Gosh, does anyone know about language and horses? It's champing at the bit. Come on.
He is potentially, I think he's got a doctor's appointment coming up. There's a chance we see him maybe for the Texans game, which is really exciting. And if not, then maybe a few snaps in the Steelers game. And then it could be, it could be interesting if they get, let me ask you this, Sterling. Say Hollywood gets back for the Steelers game. Obviously, he's not going to go out there and play 60 snaps. Say he gets in there and he gets 13 snaps, something like that, in the Steelers game. And the Chiefs have the number 1 seed locked up. And they go into Denver. If you're Andy Reid and you're sitting Mahomes, because you're not going to put Mahomes out there, do you play Hollywood Brown and try to let him just, even though it's not with Mahomes and it's a backup quarterback, do you play him a lot of the game to try to get ready for the playoffs? Or do you sit him and just take your chances?
Oh, I play. Yeah, 100% I play him. Yeah. You want to get his legs underneath him. Game speed is so much different than practice. I'm playing him. I don't know how many snaps, 30, 40, but enough to get him at least some endurance and his actual game speed underneath him. Again, I'm also one of the more, I hate doing it. I don't want to say pessimistic, but I'm a little more cautious in the impact Hollywood's going to bring. I love Hollywood Brown. I think that if he was here the whole year, you would have saw a bigger impact, but with not a lot of time to ramp up with Patrick, right? Getting back into game shape, which is again why I would play him either way if Patrick's playing or not. It's hard to make a huge difference when the offensive line is still doing what it's doing.
Yeah.
It takes away a lot of those deep balls from Hollywood. That's going to be a lot more underneath routes, which he's good at. I guess I'm tampering expectations and how much of a difference Hollywood makes versus even a Rashee Rice, who's great at those slants and those short yardage routes.
Yeah. I look, the good news is it's not a DeAndre Hopkins situation. He's not coming in and picking up the playbook for the first time. This guy was there all summer. He has a rapport with Patrick Mahomes. He's practiced with the team. He knows the playbook. So he should be able to get up to speed a lot faster than DeAndre Hopkins has. It's a matter of how many snaps do you get him out there for? But the way that the Chiefs rotate those receivers in and out anyway, it might be okay. If they've got all they need is a package of plays that they really like with Hollywood Brown. And the thing that I'm most excited about is that we haven't seen any of it, and neither has anybody else. So, they have packages, they have plays that they wanted to run with Hollywood Brown and Xavier Worthy on the field at the same time, and Travis Kelce. And we haven't really probably seen very much of that because there hasn't really been anybody else to step into that role, that same kind of role that he was going to have in this offense. So I'm jacked up and I'm with you. Get him out there in that last game and get him ready to go.
Two things. One from Joshua Clayton. What's my favorite Kiss song? He says his is Heaven's on Fire. That's a great song. Favorite Kiss song, Cold Gin. Love Cold Gin. I love Rock Bottom. The whole Dress to Kill album is my favorite Kiss album. Not even close. Love Parasite. I love a lot of Kiss songs. Big Kiss guy. And then Balloon Raccoon says Humphreys Day to Day. It's not day to day. It's day by day. Because they're not doing the Eric Berry day to day. If you've noticed, Andy Reid keeps going, we're taking it day by day. Not day to day, day by day.
Day by day. Totally different thing.
No, but it's pretty funny. So if you actually listen to Andy from going forward, now of course he's probably going to say it. Now that I brought it to your attention, he's going to all of a sudden revert back. But he's been almost on purpose saying day by day, something to keep an eye on the next time you listen to those pressers.
The hamstring stuff is so weird. If you rush somebody back, then they're just going to get hurt again. So they're really, the one thing he did say was that he's feeling a little bit better every day, and that's a really good sign, but we'll just kind of see how it goes. Ucker is back. He's practicing. His 21-day window is open. Will they bring him back this week? We don't know. We'll see. It probably just depends on how he's kicking and how he's feeling. But Matthew Wright did a nice job, so maybe they bring him out there one more week. We will see. Okay, let's preview this sucker. 12-1, Kansas City Chiefs at the Cleveland Browns. 3-10. This was a playoff team last year. They had a very good defense. That's regressed a little bit, but also part of that's because they've been so bad just in general on offense. That's going to put pressure on your defense as well. The Chiefs are -4 favorites in this one with an over-under of 44. What do you think of this line? I mean, normally I feel like in a game like this, the Chiefs would be like -6, -7. You're playing a three-win team, but do you think Vegas at this point is just like, nah, we ain't doing it. We ain't doing it. Like, we're going to make you like a 3-4 point favorite.
Well, it started at what, 6.5?
Yeah.
And it's already gone down to 4.
Yeah.
And I don't blame them. I would probably take Cleveland with the points. I really would. The reason being is the last 5 Chiefs games, 2-point win, 2-point win, loss, 3-point win, 2-point win. Yeah. I mean, seriously, like, the Chiefs haven't covered the spread in like 9 straight games. Yeah, I would take Cleveland with the point. That's basically the MO, is the Chiefs are going to win and they're not going to cover. Now, eventually the line gets as such that, yeah, you're going to eventually take the Chiefs with the points, but I don't know if we're there yet. But it is hilarious. You see 12-1 versus 3-10, and it's a 4-point spread. Again, you know my thoughts. I don't think this is a great matchup for Kansas City on paper because of the way the Browns play. They're not playing for anything, which means they can play loose, they can play free, they can throw the ball 50 times a game and potentially take advantage of a secondary that's getting a little beat over the top on the deep ball. Some open wide receivers. Jerry Jeudy has been thriving. I am a little nervous about this game, more so than even the Chargers game, which is pretty funny to say.
Yeah, I'm worried about it. I saw somebody in the chat say the Browns defense is good. It's weird. Like, they're giving up 25.8 points per game. That's not everything, but you can run and throw on this team a little bit. They're worse than the average in the running game. So I think but it's like weird because it's a different team. A lot of their stats are racked up when Deshaun Watson was just out there, was a dead fish. He couldn't do anything. And now they've got Jameis Winston, who's an absolute lunatic and has, you know what I mean? Like, you can't trust this guy. Like, you got the full Jameis Winston experience in that game, against the Broncos. Like, he goes out there and he looks like, you see why he was as widely lauded as a prospect as he was. He's chucking the ball all over the place, but the dude just cannot. He's too much of a gunslinger, and he'll go out there and he'll just throw a billion interceptions, and it costs the Browns.
But that's the one issue that I have in this game for Kansas City is they're not an opportunistic defense in the regards of turning the opposing team over a lot. Yeah, so the thing that Jameis does poorly is the thing that Chiefs don't take advantage of. The thing that Jameis does well is the weakness of Kansas City. So, like, if you go back and forth, the strengths almost lean towards, again, I think the Chiefs win. This is one of those games that I think if the Chiefs get upset in, you can look back and say, I see how it happened. I don't think it will happen, but you could see the steps that are laid to see how it could happen. I think, again, the Chiefs, they match up, again, better against teams like San Fran. They match up better against teams like even the Eagles. I'm not saying those teams are better. I'm saying just styles, right? And styles make fights. The Browns' style is a hard one for KC. Yeah,
it is, especially because they're going to get challenged. And that's on defense where the Chiefs, they've not been getting pressure. And teams are running these deep concepts to put pressure on the Chiefs safeties who are not playing well in pass coverage. And so, the Browns pre-Jameis Winston, Kevin Stefanski, they like to run the football. They didn't have Nick Chubb, but he's back. That's been Stefanski's MO since he's been in Cleveland. Run the football, play action passing, all that stuff. It wasn't working with Deshaun Watson because nobody was scared of Deshaun Watson. Credit Stefanski. Now that he's got Jameis Winston, they've got 3 wins. He's like, the heck with it. This is what this guy does sort of well. Just let it rip. And it's been a completely different Browns offense since that happened. Jerry Jeudy, who's never done anything, has been sensational the last couple of weeks. He had 235 yards receiving in his revenge game against Denver, but it didn't start there. He had 142 yards receiving after the bye against New Orleans, 85 against Pittsburgh, and that's a good defense. And that was in the snow, by the way, and 64 last week against Pittsburgh in the second game. Winston's thrown for 395 yards, 219, 497, 212 since their bye week. So this Chiefs secondary is going to get challenged. And if they can't lock down Jerry Jeudy and they can't get pressure on Jameis Winston, my fear is that they're going to hit a bunch of big plays. And if the Chiefs offense is not able to keep up, this could be one of those weird games where like they lose by 14 and it's just like a disaster because they like the play last week where the guy got wide open and Herbert overthrew him. I was looking at replays of that today. There wasn't anybody within a football field of him. He would have walked into the end zone. So that's what I'm scared about. Jameis will take those shots and more. The Chiefs have got to get picks, man. He's going to give them an opportunity at least 3 times to intercept him, like golden opportunities, because that's who he is. And if they don't take advantage, they very well could lose this game. I don't care how many wins the Browns have.
Yeah. Daniel Boardman says Kiss sucks. Daniel,
What?
why? Why, man?
You're going to break Sterling's heart.
Boardman, more like you're a bored man because you don't like Kiss. You're not listening to him. I get it.
Yeah.
What are you, Metallica guy? What are you, like a Dream Theater guy, Rush guy? I love all those bands. You can like other styles and still like Kiss. Come on now. Come on.
So do you consider this a Kareem Hunt revenge game?
Yeah, kind of. Yeah, I guess I do. Yeah, put me down for a tutty. Put me down in Kareem Hunt and touchdown here. I think the Chiefs will try and get him involved for that exact reason.
Absolutely. You know, he's going to have a little extra motivation because the Browns cut him loose. And they're his hometown team. Like, don't forget that. Like, one of the reasons why, remember when that whole thing went down with Kareem Hunt, he was living in a hotel in Cleveland. He's from the area, hometown guy. His hometown team gave him a shot. That's great. But he definitely wants to go out there and I'm sure show them he's still got it. But you got to give him the opportunity to do that.
Also for Travis, right? Cleveland guy. Could be his last time, most likely the last time in his NFL career playing in Cleveland. So
That's a great point.
I wonder what that means for him if they have some plays drawn up for him. How much this means to him playing the last time in front of his again. I wouldn't call it. I guess hometown crowd. So that'd be pretty fun for Trav.
Okay, so on the defensive side of the ball, obviously the guy you got to worry about here. This Browns defense can be had, man. You can run on them, you can pass on them, but Myles Garrett is a problem if you don't get the ball out. I think he's the best pass rusher in the NFL. There's a lot of really good ones, but I think pound for pound, if I had to pick one guy to be my pass rusher, the dude's just an absolute monster. And he has been on some good Browns teams, but a lot of bad Browns teams as well, with the struggles that the Chiefs have been having. And that's another reason why I was almost pro Joe Tooney. And I know you brought up the arm thing, which is a really great analysis, but like, my God, man, after what Patrick Mahomes dealt with last week, what's the recipe here? Are they finally, for the love of God, are they going to run the football against this Browns team, or are they going to let Patrick Mahomes get murdered by Myles Garrett?
Well, I don't think it's just running the football. I think it's quick passes. I really think you'll see a lot because you saw more quick passes as that game went on. You saw a lot of, I think, legit RPOs, the swings out to Xavier Worthy, 5 catches for 41 yards. It wasn't the deep ball they were focusing on. It was the quick passes. You saw some to DeAndre Hopkins. I would try and set. I don't know why the Chiefs don't. They haven't been super effective this year with it, but try running more screens. Like, if you're already getting beat, try a screen. That's what I would do. Maybe I'm overthinking this, and there's got to be a reason why. But I would try more screen passes to your running backs, run the football. Legit 12 personnel, which they run a ton of, but don't have Noah Gray go out for a route. Keep him into block. Samaje Perine. Have a guy chip. Like, you're going to have to do a lot. Myles Garrett is a stud. Whether he lines up over the left side or right doesn't matter. No matter who he faces, Myles Garrett's going to have an advantage.
Do you think they might come out in this one now that they found something before the half with a little bit of no huddle and come out in this one with a game plan of going no huddle to use when they need it?
I think no huddle's a little too extreme, but I think tempo. Okay, I think if you said the Chiefs will run maybe a little more tempo, I'm going to agree with that. So the reason why I say run tempo, but only in certain situations, you're not going to run tempo with the offense, even if the offense is struggling when the defense was just on the field for a 13-play drive. That's just too difficult. If you go 3 and out, your defense is screwed. Go ahead and give them another 7 points, right? That's just too tough on the Chiefs' defense. But if the offense is struggling, the defense is doing their job, then yeah, maybe you do try to run a little more tempo. I think the Chiefs should run with a little more tempo. That is a good way to slow down a opposing pass rush. I hope we see it at some point, but again, you won't see it all the time because you do have to think about how is this going to affect the Chiefs' defense.
Yeah, that's true. Maybe you can use it in certain situations. Maybe the first drive of the game as part of your scripted plays, you go a little no huddle, try to get off to a good start. Your defense is rested at that point, particularly if you get the ball first at the end of a half, maybe to start the second half after the break. As far as the weather goes, because that can always be a thing in Cleveland, Ohio, that stadium is right on the lake. Sunday,
I'll tell you this, though, weather's a thing everywhere, Patrick. You know what?
Weather, happens everywhere. That stadium's right on the lake. It's 44. They're calling for 44 degrees and rain. A steady rain in the morning, showers continuing in the afternoon. Chance of rain is 90%. Rainfall around 1/4 of an inch. So they might want to get dust off that running game a little bit. Pacheco, Kareem Hunt.
2 comments I want to get to. But
Yep.
yeah, I'm with you. 1/4 inch of rain is not a lot, but still, that's more of like a sprinkle throughout the day, all that stuff. But still, 44 and rain is horrible as a fan. Give me snow before you give me low 40s, high 30s and rain. That sucks. That's ass. Slothy says, Stu, get out of my head. Oh no, baby. I'm in there. I'm deep in there, Slothy. Oh yeah. Angry Drunken German says, tempo inside their 40 could help the red zone. Now, that is something I could get behind. You get into the 40, the opposing 30 with the struggles and settling for field goals, maybe that is when you go tempo. That should have given your defense enough time to at least catch their breath. Then you go up tempo there. Now, ADG, I love that thought process.
Yeah. Look, the red zone has been an issue for the Chiefs. So a little bit of tempo there to get some touchdowns might help. Okay. Before we get to our final score predictions, just got a couple reviews to get to really quick. I know we're going a little long. You good, Sterling? You good hanging with me?
Yeah, if my laptop dies, though, you know why. You know what
happened.
happened.
All right.
I'm gone. That's what happened.
This is the Arrowhead Addict podcast. If you're watching on YouTube, hit the like button. Listen, if you leave us a 5-star review over on Apple Podcasts, ask us a question. We are going to answer it on the show. We appreciate you guys so much. And right now, we are on a quest to get to 400 reviews over on Apple Podcasts. So I'm not sure what our number is just yet. I'm going to have to look that up, but we got a number of reviews as you guys have shown up to help us out. And we got to catch up from just before Thanksgiving. So Malt Vinegar from, what is this? Malt Vinegar. His review says, Canadian fan. I've been a fan since Steve Bono. So it's nice to see them winning now. This podcast makes me feel like you're hanging out with your closest friends and just chatting. Love how it feels like they are talking with you and not at you. Do the Chiefs need to draft a running back next year in the 2nd or 3rd? They seem to really lack explosive runs. What do you think of that, Sterling? It hasn't been a while since they've had big explosive runs in the running game.
By the way, thank you. That was very nice. And we are talking with you, right?
Indeed.
Yeah, we are with you. I think 2nd round's a little too early for me and my liking. Maybe a 3rd rounder. Obviously, with the way running backs are kind of making a resurgence in the NFL, I think maybe 3rd round is when you start to look. But you're right. Even Isaiah Pacheco, I don't think Kareem Hunt comes back next year. But if you want Pacheco and then you want a more explosive running back to pair with him, I'm all in. I think that could make some sense because if the Chiefs are going to run this often as they did early in the season, you're going to need some explosive plays on the ground. Pacheco, I think he almost gets this misconception that he's an explosive running back, that it's thunder and lightning. He had that 34-yard run, but that really stands out because he does not have a lot of 20-plus yard rushes, which is interesting for a guy as fast and athletic as he is.
Fast, yeah.
I do love Kareem Hunt's vision, right? And I think Kareem Hunt has really helped out in the short yardage situations. So you'll have to figure out how you want to have the roster construction. But yeah, I do think I would at least, if there's the right player, I'd have to do some more, research on this, but I think there's a case to be made that you could probably draft a 3rd-round running back, and I'd be intrigued by it.
Yeah, if it's a difference maker, I mean, they've done a good job of finding guys late or free agency and things like that. But I think a little bit more explosion in the running game, I could be down for that. Okay, next up is Chance Baker Chuck says, "Thank you all." This is from 1122. "Thank you all for making my favorite Chiefs-related podcast. I hope this never happens, but if you were all to design an alternate Chiefs jersey, what would it look like?" Oh, very controversial topic in the kingdom. I think it's fun to do these alternate looks once in a while. I don't think it ruins anything. You wear it once or whatever and be done with it. So I don't mind it. I think I would probably go. I think a white helmet would look cool. I like the Chiefs whites. I think it's a small change where the helmet would still look good. They could wear their all whites if they wanted to, and it would be kind of a cool frosty look without really being anything too gaudy, like all yellow uniforms or something crazy like that.
Yeah, for the record, I am 100% out on black uniforms. I don't like it. I know people are always going to try and push to me, it's very early 2000s. Like it worked for a couple teams. It worked for the Philadelphia 76ers when they had the black outfits, when they were red, white, and blue traditionally color scheme, right? Like the Chiefs don't have black in their color scheme. I don't want to just do it just how every team had a powder blue uniform in the 80s for baseball. That's not Kansas City. I like the all white. I was going to say white helmet. I think that'd be really cool. I'm a traditionalist. I hate messing with the Chiefs uniforms because I think they have a good thing going.
They're beautiful.
I wouldn't hate, you don't see this, but remember when they did the gold jerseys that like fans could get? Right?
Yeah, I've got one.
I wouldn't mind seeing like a gold jersey, kind of that gold yellowish, but I could do that where you just almost the inverted. Instead of where it's red with the gold piping, it's the gold with the red and white piping. You'd keep the white pants and that color scheme. I don't know. I don't want to mess with it, but if I have to choose, that's what I'd rock.
Oh, Joshua Clayton in the chat says red face mask. That could be cool. I could dig that, or even a gold face mask. Why not get the yellow rocket on the face mask a little bit? Nice complimentary piece.
Yeah.
All right. Next up is, and by the way, I looked it up. We are at 380 reviews. So we got 20 to go. We just need 20 more of you guys to leave us reviews. So we appreciate you.
Someone gave us a great review, but then gave us 1 star.
Yeah. We'll get to that one. It was an accident, I'm sure. Yeah.
Or they loved us, but they just don't. I don't know.
Right. So Wames World says road to 400. So they're on board. This is the best Chiefs podcast out there with Sterling, Briscoe, Adam, Price, Christian, and Patrick, all providing their own perspective. It really gives you a full picture of the Chiefs. Analytics to reactions to rants. They do it all, even the occasional vertiram. Don't miss out. Question. Now, this was before Thanksgiving. I'm a little late on this review. With Thanksgiving around the corner, what are you thankful for this year? Bonus, best game day beer. Sterling, what are you thankful for, and what's your go-to game day beer?
All the listeners and fans and people that give us 5-star reviews and are in our Discord. I try and be in the Discord as much as I can. I'm going to try and be in the Discord more often. I've been busy, bought and selling a house. Actually, just officially sold the house, so now I no longer have to deal with that. So yay!
Congrats!
We're still renovating the house and trying to move in. It's been stressful. That's why I'm in my parents' basement right now. But yeah, I appreciate everyone who hangs out with us because there's so many different websites and so many different podcasts you could listen to. So spending time with us, building this community, it's been really, really enjoyable. The fact that I'll go to the airport, shout out to Casey. Flying to Florida, you'll see people from the podcast, nice to talk with and hang out with. And yeah the best game day beer, let's be real now, Arrowhead Lager. Come on,
baby. Come on, we got our own beer. Yeah, I'm with you. Arrowhead Lager, if I have it. I'm down to my last 2 bottles, and I've been hoarding them, so I'm going to have to call the good friends at Casey Beer and see if they could do something for me. I can't just stroll on down.
Shout out to them. They gave me the Advent calendar for the year.
Did they?
But I've moved it, and so it's going to be in January. So I'm doing it backwards. It's supposed to be you open on Christmas, all that stuff, but I'm doing the opposite. I'm starting January 1st because, why not? Beer's still good on January. That's, what? That's my New Year's goal. That's my New Year's resolution. Do my Advent beer calendar in January. I think I have a good chance of doing it.
There it is. Look, I'm obviously, of course, thankful for all of our members and our listeners and the incredible support they provide. I would be insane this year not to say how incredibly thankful I am for my wife, who put her body through the ringer to bring our son, who I am also incredibly thankful for, into the world. She's absolutely amazing. My son's absolutely amazing. Best year of my life by a mile. It started with us in Las Vegas, you and me, Sterling. Mag was there, and Rory was there too. And the Chiefs won the Super Bowl, and she was pregnant. And then here we are. We're back, and the Chiefs have only lost one game since then. So a lot to be thankful for me. Okay, we're getting down to it here. Ty Jordan 17 says the best podcast to catch up on news. Listen every day on the way to work. What are the Chiefs going to do with Marlon oh God, I can never get this guy's name right. Tuipulotu. Nobody ever mentions him. So they signed him. He was drafted by the Eagles, and then they signed him after he got cut loose. He's been on the active roster since the summer, but I don't think he's played any snaps. So he's always inactive. I don't know. My guess is what you're seeing here is he's a guy that they like, but they don't like right now, but that they are almost positive that if they leave him on the practice squad, he's going to get poached. That's what I think. And obviously they like him for the depth that he provides, but why else would you have a guy there? And I think they do that with guys sometimes.
Yeah, that's clearly why, is because they don't want him to get poached. I just don't understand. I guess in case of injury, right? That's basically, it's a break glass in case of if Turk Wharton went down, okay, Marlon, now you're going in there. But yeah, he's 25, so it's not like the youngest dude in the world by any means. But I can only imagine it's because of injury. You want someone who you trust to step in there if an injury were to arise.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, next up is ASU 412. Great for busy Chiefs fans to get in-depth analysis on the go. So this was the 1-star review, but the positive review. So ASU, if you're listening, and I know you are, if you're able to go back in there, you can edit that and change it to 5. Huge Chiefs fan, but also a busy mom and physician. So I love that I can get all the team info and analysis when driving to work, making dinner, or washing bottles. Don't I know it? We got a little bottle washer. It only fits 4 bottles in it. It's crazy. Anyway, I especially love the post-game show since I don't get to sit down and watch the entire thing sometimes. So glad I found this pod. Thanks for a great listen. What is your favorite stadium to watch a game at other than Arrowhead, of course? Well, this is a good one. Sterling? I guess it doesn't have to be football.
Yeah, I was going to say, favorite game to watch. Man, that's a great question. That's really good. I've been to a lot of baseball games. I went to the Cubs game with Verderame. That was fun. That could be up there, right? Yeah. Obviously Kaufman, but thinking outside the box. San Diego was really cool. San Diego was awesome. Wells Fargo for Sixers games was a lot of fun. Big NBA guy, so that was really cool. Yeah, there's a lot of good. That's really hard. That's hard.
Yeah. I would say for me, being in Chicago here, definitely Wrigley Field, just absolutely iconic venue if you like baseball. I used to live right in the neighborhood. It's they've done some nice renovations to the neighborhood around there. It's a just great atmosphere. It's one of those handful of venues out there that are great. And then, of course, being an Ohio State fan, if you've ever been to the Shoe, I've been to a couple college stadiums. I don't like Michigan, but that was an amazing atmosphere too. The college football stadiums, man, like
good call.
The big ones like the Shoe and the Big House, like holy
Tennessee.
crap.
I went to Tennessee and saw Mizzou play the Volunteers in college, and that was electric. Georgia was really cool.
Yeah. Everybody's so juiced up, man, in college. Like it's just the atmosphere is so good. So I'll go with those. All right, next one up. Chiefs fan for NA. Best Chiefs pod ever. The guys are amazing and are hilarious and know their football. All the guys are funny and understand the game of football. Keep up the good work. Question: how do you think that how do you all think that Jared Wiley is underperforming for his stock and where he was drafted? Well, he did get hurt, so he's out of the picture now. But But he wasn't. They weren't throwing to him, but he was playing like 30% of the snaps. So I think they were. I think it was a success. They were getting a lot of usefulness out of him, and it just he ended up getting the injury. So I'm good. He's another guy. Like, he's a future guy, right? Like, they were never gonna. They just re-signed Noah Gray. They're restocking the tight end cupboard because sadly they know the end is coming for Travis Kelce.
So I just had to go charge in my laptop. So now I'm on the floor over here because we're going above and beyond because we care about the people. That's what we do on this show. We care about the folks. I don't know if Jared Wiley's considered a disappointment quite yet. I always say tight ends. I never know how to judge coming out of college. I really don't. That's why I didn't have strong thoughts on this particular pick to begin with when he was drafted. But tight ends take time. Like, that's, again, one of those positions that takes so long to develop that I'm not going to – like, Brock Bowers was a little bit of a different cat because he was top of the top. And even top of the top guys like Kyle Pitts, great rookie year, but then, then what? TJ Hawkinson took forever to develop. So the injury sucks for him. But we also saw another guy who got injured his rookie year and turned into a pretty damn good tight end, Travis Kelce.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And yeah, this is one of the longest episodes we've done in a while. Verderam and I used to go an hour and a half all the time, but I appreciate you hanging with me, Sterling, because I think it's been a really good show. Lots of really good content packed in here. So hope you guys enjoy it. Okay, 3 more to get to. Chiefs fan. 2 more. Sorry. Vikings and Chiefs. Great Chiefs podcast. Have quite a few I listen to, and this pod is definitely in the top 2. Vikings fan, but Chiefs are number 2 because of Leo. This is what I'm talking about, man. This is what we need in the world. Man's a Vikings fan, likes the Chiefs. Big football fan, by the way. Shout out to you. Listen to a bunch of podcasts. Listen to podcasts for your number 2 team. And then going out of your way to leave us a review. So kind. And then the last one, this came on December 1st from our pool. Go-to for Chiefs content. Just a note to thank to all the hosts and those behind the scenes. You guys have provided great content, even in the off season. I can't pick a favorite show as all of them are awesome in their own way. Keep up the great work, and you are so appreciated. What a wonderful, lovely, kind comment. This is so much fun, man. We love doing this. You guys are amazing. We never dreamed that the show would have gotten as big of a following as it has gotten, and it's been a wonderful ride from multiple Super Bowls. Sterling's going back with us to the Super Bowl this year. We're going to be there. Hopefully the Chiefs will be too. So you guys are awesome. Thank you so much. We just need 20 more reviews to get to that goal of 100 of 400 before the end of the season. Let's get after it. All right, Sterling, before we get out of here, let's tell them how Sunday is going to go. Chiefs at Browns. What's your final score?
Yeah, you and me on Bourbon Street. Let's have some fun, pal. That's going to be absolutely electric. That
probably be our last Super Bowl.
We might get some fun, some videos for everyone in the Discord.
Yeah.
That'll be fun.
Yeah.
Oh, man. I did it last week and was wrong. Normally, again, I'm a guy who goes with a lower scoring game when the Chiefs are playing because I think the offense is still struggling in the red zone and the defense I think is still good enough. I think a little higher here, 27-24. I'll go 27-24 Kansas City, which means the Browns cover, Chiefs win. Again, eventually, I think this offense, there's so many plays that are being left on the field because the offensive line has struggled so badly. Yeah. I think they're going to have a good, quick game plan in this one. I think we'll see a little more tempo. I think we'll see some regression to the mean come red zone time. So I'll go 27-24 KC.
I love it. I hope we score 27. I was foolish. I picked against them last week because they haven't been playing well, and the Chargers were on a little bit of a heater. I'm a Northeast Ohio guy. The Browns are my second favorite team, although they're hard to root for with the whole Deshaun Watson thing. So this is always a fun matchup for me when it happens. Of course, I'm always rooting for the Chiefs. But give me Kansas City in this one, but I can't pick them in a runaway. Chiefs 24, Browns 23. I think they just keep the greatest show on earth rolling, and we'll see another slew of they can't keep getting away with this memes on Twitter on Sunday. Sterling, we got to get out of here. Go spend some time with your folks. I'm going to go spend some time with my son. Appreciate everybody. Listen, we will be here on Sunday with the pregame show, the halftime show, and Sterling and I will be there for the Arrowhead Addict Chiefs postgame show. Hopefully it is our lucky 13th victory party of the season. Until then, thank you to producer Sean for getting us up and running. Thank you to everybody who participated. And of course, thank you to Lexi Osborne from the Kingdom's Queens podcast. And my guy, Sterling Home. What a guy. Sterling Home. That's your name. Stuart Home. That's your alter ego.
What
We've
is
completed
happening?
it now. I've got dad brain. Okay.
Do you
I
smell
don't
toast?
sleep. I don't sleep. I don't know what's going on. I missed the S. I dropped the S. So you're Stuart Holmes. Stuart Home. That's your name. All right, everybody. Thank you so much. We will see you on Sunday for the Chiefs at Browns. But until then, as always, go Chiefs.